call the meeting to order. This meeting is held in accordance with Open Public Meeting Act 10:4-6 et seq. Annual notice having been forwarded to the New Jersey Herald and the New Jersey Sunday Herald and posted on the bulletin board maintained in the municipal building for public announcements. Would you please rise and join us in a salute to the flag and a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of
America, and to the republic
which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Would the secretary please call the roll?
Mr. Bongiovanni?
Here.
Mr. Duncan?
Here.
Mr. Gaffney? Mrs. Crock?
here,
Mr. Lejo? Mr. Rayhill?
Here.
Mr. Ray? Mr. Riley? Mr. Toppin?
Here.
Councilman Schindler?
Here.
Mayor Francis?
Here.
Mr. Gilbert?
Here, I believe we have a quorum. Minutes. The minutes of the meeting of September 1st, 2020 were distributed electronically. Are there any additions or corrections?
I don't think so.
Okay, seeing none, I will entertain a motion for approval.
Motion approved. Second. Second.
Mr. Bongiovanni?
Yes.
Mr. Duncan?
Yes.
Mrs. Crock?
yes,
Mr. Rayhill?
Yes.
Mr. Toppin?
Yes.
Councilman Schindler?
Yes. Yes.
Mayor Francis?
Yes.
Mr. Gilbert?
Yes. We have no continued applications. We have two new applications. We will begin with Brian O'Hare, Block 31202, Lot 27, 130 Maxim Drive. Applicant is requesting approval for repairing a deck with a small extension. Variance is being requested or listed, and we will go right to Mr. O'Hare. Are you here? Is someone here representing?
Yes,
Laura?
they are. Hold on, Alan. I'm gonna. Laura,
Hi.
you're on.
I'm here. Lori O'Hare. I'm Brian's wife.
Okay, would you want to raise your hand and be sworn in by our attorney, please?
You raise your hand. There you go. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Very good. And your full name?
Lori A. O'Hare.
And you are the applicant, correct?
Yes.
And your residence, can you please provide us with that?
130 Maxim Drive.
Thank you.
Okay, Ms. O'Hare, did you receive the letter from Mr. Rushke, which was dated, I'm looking for it, here it is, dated August 3rd, 2020?
That's the letter from the engineer?
Yes, it is.
Yes, I did.
Okay, and there are, let's see, there's just the one note or one technical review item. Dimension of the proposed expansion should be noted on the site plan. Can that be done easily?
I think it's on there already.
No, the only thing I see on the site plan is the distance from the property line. I don't see any dimensions unless I don't have the site plan.
No.
Where it says porch,
Yes?
18 foot.
he drew like a little extension.
But no figures.
No,
It says-
no figures there, no dimensions.
The only
Eight-
thing
eight-
you got to
eight-
show
eight-
is
18.1 feet, and there's no width to it.
Right,
Right.
correct.
Okay, so
there's
what do
a-
I need to do?
Well, you need to indicate the other dimension. The 18.1 feet is okay, but the other dimension is not indicated coming out from the house.
it looks like 18 by 10, but it doesn't state it.
Right. Right.
Okay.
That could be easily added. As a matter of fact, I had measured the deck initially. I mean, I could work with the scale and just add the extra 2 feet.
Okay, that would be acceptable. I have a question, though. I believe this construction has already been completed. Is that correct, Ms. O'Hare?
Yes, it's almost complete. The finish work hasn't been done.
Okay, and I assume then that you do not have any building permits for it?
No, I do not.
Okay, well, if we approve it tonight and it is then memorialized, you will have to go and get building permits.
Okay.
My concern is that it's just an extension added on to the front of the deck, and we need to be certain that it is up to code and is not going to fall down.
Okay. Would the engineer's report or the inspector's report show you any of that already, that it's up to code?
Mr. Rushkey?
Yeah, no, my report does not go into you have to satisfy the Bill O'Connor, the construction code official. You know, he looks at it from the uniform construction code, and I just look at it from a zoning perspective. So you'd have to just coordinate that with Bill O'Connor.
Okay. Is Bill O'Connor here tonight?
No, he's not in attendance.
Okay.
He's in the construction department.
Okay.
Yeah,
How it's built.
Pardon?
Has to show how it's built. You added
Yes.
2 feet on, but how was it added on?
That is correct. And but you can contact Bill Donegan, and he could put you in touch with Bill O'Connor.
Okay. So my first step is to contact, Bill Donegan?
Yes.
Theoretically, tomorrow, if you want to just contact the office, I mean, your next step is going to be doing the building permit for what was done.
Okay.
And at that point, Mr. O'Connor is going to ask, for drawings as how it was done, and he'll be reviewing those. Hopefully, structurally, it's good, but that you'll work that through with Mr. O'Connor.
Okay.
Is Bill Haggerty with us? Is he? I don't see his.
No,
Good night.
Michelle Corbett is
Hello.
replacement.
There you go. Hello.
Okay. So I go and speak with Bill Donegan and get building permits.
Right. Well, that is if we approve it tonight, as long as.
Oh,
we
I'm
approve
sorry. Okay.
it. Are there any questions or comments from board members?
Yeah, pre-approving it, wouldn't we want them to get the construction permits first and let our construction official go through everything and make sure I know John has done a very thorough job, but we don't know specifically in a house or the deck what it is.
That is correct. We don't have any, we have, the only maps, the only drawings we have are the location survey.
Right.
And to me, that's not sufficient.
No.
But we usually don't get framing details when we do get deck extensions. We do get plot plans, but we usually don't get the framing details, which would fall into Bill O'Connor's realm of it has to be built correctly.
Okay.
Conventionally, Mr. O'Connor won't accept a building permit application until the zoning is approved.
Okay.
Right.
So then we would want to take care of this tonight, and then have her go to through you and go to Bill O'Connor for permits. Correct?
Yes.
Right. Okay. In that case, let's go back to the board. Are there any comments, questions from board members?
No.
All right, then let me open it up to the public. Would anybody from the public like to comment on this application before we have a motion? Anybody at all from the public? If anybody from the public is out there and wants to comment, please go to your screen and hit reactions and raise your hand, and Mr. Tappan will let me know that you are waiting to speak. Nobody, Mr. Tappan?
I don't see anything, sir.
Okay, then I will bring it back to the board. What is the pleasure of the board? Would somebody like to make a motion?
I make a motion.
Okay, Mr. Duncan has made a motion to approve the application. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Danielle?
Mr. Bongiovanni?
Yes.
Mr. Duncan?
Yes.
Mrs. Crock?
Yes.
Mr. Rahal?
Yes.
Mr. Toppin?
Yes.
Councilman Schindler?
Yes.
Mayor Francis?
Yes.
Mr. Gilbert?
Yes. Now, Ms. O'Hare, normally what we do is at the next month, we would have a resolution memorializing this action that we have taken, at which time you could then go in and apply for building permits. If you want to apply for permits before that, you request of us a waiver of memorialization.
Okay.
Michael, mute your thing.
I got it.
Very good.
Hold on, Alan, I thought it was you.
Go ahead,
Hold on.
Alan, say it again.
Okay.
There we go.
As I was saying, Ms. O'Hare, normally next month we would memorialize this through a resolution, at which time you could then go in and apply for building permits. If you want to go in and apply for permits tomorrow or anytime before we memorialize, you ask for waiver of memorialization. Would you like to do that?
Yes.
Okay. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Colleen or Danielle?
Mr. Bongiovanni?
Yes.
Mr. Duncan?
Yes.
Mrs. Crock?
Hold on.
Muted.
I'm trying to unmute her, but there she goes.
There you go. Ms. Crock?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Rahal?
Yes.
Mr. Toppin?
Yes.
Councilman Schindler?
Yes.
Mayor Francis?
Yes.
Mr. Gilbert?
Yes. So Ms. O'Hare, you can go in as soon as tomorrow. I would suggest you call the office at your earliest convenience, and you can then apply for building permits. You'll have to do whatever Bill Dunnigan sees fit for approval of those permits.
Okay.
Okay. Is there anything else?
No, thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you for attending tonight. Okay, we will move on to the second new application, which is Anthony Gangemi, Matthew Peterson, Block 30408, Lot 24, 227 Lakeside Boulevard. And basically, the application is to approve the rebuilding of a house that burned down in 2017. Now, we do have a letter from our attorney, Mr. Haggerty, about this, and I believe, Michelle, do you want to address that before we continue? If so, you'll have to be unmuted. Okay, Michelle, you're on. Oh, nope, you're muted again.
Hold on, Michelle. For some reason you got muted. You muted yourself. And
There we go. Nope. Don't click on unmute.
there we
Now.
go. There you go. You're in.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right. Everyone. So Bill Haggerty did submit a letter September 11th with regard to a use variance. So in this instance, we have a pre-existing non-conforming structure that was burned down in 2017. The statute is reference 40:55D-68, and this states that any non-conforming use or structure existing at the time of the ordinance may be continued upon the lot or in the structure so occupied, and any such structure may be restored or repaired in the event of a partial destruction thereof. The municipal ordinance. One second. Here we are. Under restoration, whenever a building or structure is non-conforming by reason of its use, such building or structure may be restored or repaired in the event of partial destruction thereof, and the non-conforming use may be resumed, provided, however, such resumption shall not expand or enlarge the previously existing non-conforming use. So in this instance, the question is whether this was a partial destruction, and there's every indication in the application itself that it was fully destroyed. In that instance, then a pre-existing non-conforming has been extinguished, and it's our position that actually an application must be resubmitted for a use variance.
Okay. And a use variance would be Class C, I believe, and would require that Mayor Francis and Mr. Schindler recuse themselves. Is that correct?
Class D1, yes, that's
D1.
right.
D.
Okay. So, so the question is this going to be a use variance, or is it simply rebuilding and allowing the continuation of the non-conforming use? Bill Donegan, you have seen this place, I believe, and so have you, John Rushke, and so have I. Is it a partial or a complete destruction?
Our ordinance, our new ordinance doesn't define partial as well as it used to. So I was reverting back to what the municipal land use law and some of the decisions, and at that point, I think you need to have between 40 and 50% remaining. And it's the last time I was there, it was basically the foundation was left and possibly the first floor deck. I don't think that would be 40 to 50%.
Okay, Mr. Reschke, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I would agree with Bill's statements, regarding its assessment of it.
And I would as well, having been there. So it looks like we need an application for a use variance, not just the application that we have. And before we get into that, I have a question. I see, at least going through all the paperwork that was given to me, I see a whole bunch of site plans, and they all indicate that there's a boathouse there, but I don't see any boathouse. Was the boathouse also destroyed in the fire? No?
I have a question for Michelle, Alan.
Yes.
Michelle, since we're talking about a D variance here, and it's been since 2017, isn't that time frame like an abandonment of anything that was pre-approved as far as use goes? So
It may very well be. No, under the ordinance, that would require a period of 12 consecutive months where it's been voluntarily discontinued. So it could very well be that as well. You're right.
So that could change the entire conversation about what we're having about percentages, and if in fact it is a D variance, of course I'll recuse myself. But I think that the point I'm trying to make is you start all over again.
If I may, when this property, right after the fire, Mr. Schouten, the previous owner and possibly still the owner, he had come in and he had done a zoning permit, which was approved to rebuild same size, same location. Back at that time, and up to early this year, very basically, as long as something remained, our ordinance allowed that. And ultimately, so Mr. Schouten had every intention to rebuild the house all along.
Yeah, but the fact of the matter is nothing happened.
True.
Am I off base, Michelle, or do we start fundamentally from the beginning?
So I also have a question, Michelle.
Yeah.
On the letter, I think that Bill was mentioning
Yes.
was with the conditional approval back in 2017. The last sentence of the whole sheet was, in the event reconstruction does not start immediately, any excavation from the demolition must be graded level and the property maintained in a safe, clean manner. So basically, it was supposed to be cleaned up and just left. So yeah, so then go on to Mike's question, do we start over?
Okay, so you're referencing Bill Donegan's
Yes.
June 27th, let me read that. Conditions of approval to rebuild. Some portion of the original structure must remain and become part of the new structure. In the event reconstruction does not start immediately, any excavation from demolition must be graded. The mayor may be right. It does fall within abandonment.
And can we do this, Alan?
Yes.
Just as a suggestion, we're putting Michelle on the spot here. Could we table this and make a motion to table it so that we have a good legal review on that definition?
Well, I think we should ask Mr. Gangemi if he agrees with that.
I mean, my story is I went into Bill's office either in February or March before I bought the property, and he brought this to the town attorney, and the town attorney said that we will, for lack of a better term, grandfather in that prior zoning approval. And then when I applied for the zoning approval, now I'm being told now we're at a point where we have to abandon the property and demolition. And it's kind of bothersome that I was told one thing and now I'm being told something different. It was only a month or two later.
Right.
I mean,
Bill, who did you take this? Bill Donegan, did you take this to Mr. Haggerty?
Yeah, yes, I did. And see, the timing was such that this was prior to the change in the ordinance, where, when I took that question to Mr. Haggerty, our ordinance that was in effect was that it could be rebuilt as long as it was less than 100% loss.
Right,
and
and
then ultimately,
application was made at that time?
I believe, well, Mr. Schouten had done the zoning permit back in 2017 or whatever that was.
Right.
And then I think Mr. Jimmy and I had conversations, possibly even back in the fall of 19, because he was considering this. And
no, I was only there.
Pardon?
I was only there February and March. I didn't know about the property until February and March.
Okay, I'm sorry. Then I thought it was possibly back then. But at any rate, when you came in, those were the rules that we were living with. Unfortunately, there was a time frame between you going ahead with that project at that time and the change in the ordinance.
Yeah, I thought we were just going to use that old zoning. That's my misunderstanding. I thought we were using the old zoning that was approved already. That's what I thought you said. That's where I got confused, and that's where we are now.
Well, I believe what I asked Mr. Haggerty at the time is that we had a zoning permit that was issued back in 2017 or whatever that right date was, and now of course the property's to be sold. And are we still can we still respect the original zoning? And at that point he said yes. But then the ordinance changed. And then ultimately now our ordinance doesn't allow for that. No, it's unfortunate Mr. O'Haggerty isn't here because he might have remembered that conversation and he could enlighten us a little further.
Right. So, Mr. Gangemi, would you be opposed to our tabling this to our next meeting and try to get Mr. Haggerty to enlighten us some more?
I guess I don't have a choice, do I?
Well,
But Alan, my point was it has nothing to do with the building. What we're talking about has to do with the discontinuance of a pre-existing non-conforming use, which the statutes say are abandonment. You know, I'm reading in Cox as we're trying to catch up with it, but I think we should be really careful as we move forward with this and don't confuse the building with the use.
yeah, and I think Mr. Haggerty is the one to straighten that out for us.
I agree.
You know, we're paying our professionals for their advice, and I think we should take it.
So what happens if the abandonment thing, what is that? Can you give me advice? What does that mean? Is there different, means it cannot be built at all, or there's still other things that have to be done?
Probably other things that have to be done, such
Well, now,
as,
Michelle, you're up on that one.
such as a use variance.
Yeah, it's a use variance, but
It'd still be the same, the use variance,
Yeah.
right?
Because I had a conversation with Mr. Haggerty today, and he said he'd be okay if we didn't apply for the use of variance. He said he talked to you, Michelle, that he said that, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
He said that if the board approved moving forward tonight, he said he gave you the okay, that he would be okay with the board moving forward. I'm not just saying that's what he told me, and he did not say it to you, Michelle, or?
My conversation with him was simply to discuss with the board the issue of the need and the necessity for a use variance, that it was our opinion based on his letter, and that this was more than just partial destruction, that you would need to just resubmit for a use variance.
Right.
And the next question was, well, what if this was abandonment? Well, then again, I think we're looking at the need for a use variance. So either way, I think either way, that's what we're looking at.
All right.
So Mr. Gangemi, I guess the question for you is, would you like us to table this and see if we can get more information from Mr. Haggerty at our next meeting, or would you rather just come back with a use variance? Because it looks like either way, you're going to have to come back with a use variance application.
So is it something that they add on to this variance, or is it a whole new application? Like, what's the process? I have to go back to the engineer, and it's going to be another month before I meet you again, or?
John?
Well, if you didn't advertise for a use variance, the application starts over again.
yeah.
A use variance is not something like we add in as a board, adds a C variance as a part of the application, but a use variance is a higher level. Michelle can correct me if I'm wrong, but I would think that this needs to be re-advertised as a use variance.
Yeah, and the point is that we're in the R1 zone, and we're looking at using it for more than just a single residence. You have the two buildings on the one lot, and the one building is 2 or 3 family.
Wasn't that approved in 1987, though?
Yes,
the board approved
it was, but
Yeah, the issue becomes either the abandonment or the use. And for abandonment, the ordinance says in cases where such non-conforming use of a building or structure designed for such use, when it is voluntarily discontinued for a period of 12 consecutive months. Voluntarily discontinued, the fire occurred in 2017. So
right.
You didn't submit an application in 2018. So
correct.
2020. So, it is an abandonment, per the definition of the ordinance. So, it's a use variance. So basically, I think the application just needs to be dismissed and refiled for a use variance and re-noticed because you didn't notice for the use variance.
I understand the need for the notice and that, but what I was questioning is that I guess the applicant has to go through the whole, I guess Danielle, I have to ask you as well, has to go back through the whole process where I fill the application out, has to go to the engineer has to approve the application, and then I get approved for a date, and then I notice, and then I send it to the Herald, and is that the same process has to happen again? Is that what I would say?
Yes, I think that's what they're saying.
So then we're looking at a minimum 30 days before I come back here. And I think it was actually more like 45 days.
Yeah, I think it can be expedited as it's basically, we've already reviewed the application. It's just a matter of getting the new paperwork in. It's more of an issue of getting the notice out. You know, can you get the notice out for the next meeting?
Well, I can get the notice out as soon as I'm allowed to. I just want to, do we have to go back to the engineer and?
Yeah, you have to be deemed complete again. So you have to resubmit the application, but the review is going to go much faster because it's already.
And the board can ask the engineer to.
Well, I'm the engineer. So
You're the engineer. Okay, I didn't know that. So
there's no third person here.
All right.
So I'm telling you, they can get the application in as soon as you can, and we will expedite it.
All right. I'll see you tomorrow then.
All right.
Hey, Alan.
Help here.
Hey, Alan.
Can I get a question in?
Go
I have
ahead.
a question too.
What we're talking about now, if he redoes all the paperwork, is he trying to put it back to a pre-existing non-conforming deal where there'd be 2 units on that property, or
Yes.
what?
No, it's the burden of proof is going to be, you know, it's an abandonment, so he loses that pre-existing non-conforming, you know, status. So he has to, you know, provide proofs and justification for the second structure.
Right. So,
But
but he's going
trying
to be
to bring it
looking
back
to have the same thing.
Yes, you know, and that's the testimony that's going to be made, but it's not like he's taking this as a pre-existing non-conforming and just saying he's continuing the use. It's the use we're saying is abandoned, so we know he loses that status, so he has to start over again. And certainly he's going to make an argument regarding that it was previously a pre-existing non-conforming, and
right.
argument, but you know, he doesn't come into the board and the application process as having that right. He has to justify it.
Yeah, but the town in its past dealings, haven't they tried to, when possible, get rid of non-conforming?
No, that's the board's going to have to deliberate that.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
The board, this is not a guarantee for them to come in to get approval. He's going to have to justify the second structure.
Thank you much.
My question is this: what about the boathouse then, Alan?
Well, that'll come up, you know, with everything else.
There's no discussion on buildings till we establish the use.
Right.
What's the question about the boathouse? That's still existing.
Well, I'll have to go back and look again. I didn't see it. I saw a deck.
It's under that deck.
Oh, it's under the deck. I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Camouflage.
Well, I'll put my mountain near and gear on again and go down and look.
Yeah, you need your sneakers for sure.
That's for sure. Okay, so I think at this point, what we'll do, Mr. Gangemi, do you want to just withdraw the application? That'd be the easiest thing for us, and then come back with a new application next time.
I guess that's probably the best thing to do. I'm looking for your advice, and I don't know that's probably the best thing. I have to do the use one anyway, right?
Yeah.
So it's really the smartest thing to do for the group.
Well, it's the easiest thing for us, yes, if you just withdraw it.
All right, then I'll just withdraw it.
Oh, okay. Michelle, I don't think this requires any action on our part, does it? No.
No, it doesn't.
Okay. Then, Mrs. Gangemi, thank you very much for your for working with us, and we'll look forward to seeing you. I believe our next meeting is going to be what, November 9th? Or October.
Yeah.
6th.
October 6th is our next meeting.
October 6th and October 20th are our next 2 meetings.
All right, hope I can make ASAP. That'd be great. Danielle, see you in the morning.
Thank you very much, Mr.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, zoning officer report. Bill, do you have anything for us?
No, I don't.
No.
Chairman,
Okay,
Chairman, I'll just bring up, actually, I've been trying to get a hold of Rich for about a week now, or thereabouts, regarding questions on the redevelopment plan for the Maxim School. And as the
Okay.
board knows, we basically did deem that the property of the school in need of redevelopment. And at this juncture, we're kind of waiting for a developer to show interest on that property, and then work with them regarding what we would like to see there, and then prepare the redevelopment plan based on a concept plan that we work out. We can certainly move forward with a redevelopment plan and state what we want to see there, but my experience is that it's usually best to work with a developer, work with a concept plan, and then do the redevelopment plan, to do that planning before we actually do a formal plan. And that continues to be my suggestion. I don't want to see the borough incur costs to prepare a plan that probably 99% chance of being just tweaked slightly, because anyone that's coming in for that, to develop the property, they want to come to the board without any variances, and we want to work with them as part of the redevelopment plan. So just kind of put that out to the board. I know this people are anxious to move forward, but I think we really need to have someone show some interest in the property and then work with them.
Rich, has anybody shown interest?
Well, we are trying to help the school in find buyers for it. And that's one of the reasons why I called Mr. Rushke regarding the school, to see what type of density would be allowed under certain instances, as in if it was just residential, if it was senior residential, if it was commercial and residential, that type of thing. Because I know there are some people that have shown interest, and they are obviously, like in any situation, they need to think about numbers. What can we get out of it? What's it going to cost us? That type of thing. And obviously no one wants to spin their wheels. So that's why I was reaching out to him to say, hey, what could work here? That type of thing. And obviously, I not to hold anyone's feet to the fire, because we can't. But people always ask that question. Well, what can we put here? That type of thing. So
yeah, I think the message that we got to get out there, Rich, is what do you want to put there, and then we'll evaluate what you want to put there and see if it is practical. I think the one thing, if I don't want to get the wrong message out there, that if we develop a redevelopment plan, that someone's going to take that as that's rock hard. We're not going to deviate. That's what we want, and they may not be able to make that fit for what we want, and what we want. We may give some latitude if they come back and want something. So I think any developer that has done work in New Jersey and shows some interest, they're going to call, they're going to find, hey, what's going on? What can we happen there? And I think that's what the message to the school is that if they have anyone that's interested, to reach out to us and let's talk, and let's see what the questions or concerns or issues that they have. And then we'll just work it out with them, give them a level of comfort that they really should move and develop, invest in a concept plan if they have an idea that they think they have a business plan that's going to work.
Typically repurposed schools very commonly are used for housing, and the population density is usually driven by Department of Health or some other state statutorial guidance. When you do that, for example, the old school on Lackawanna Road there, I believe that's all apartments now, and that laid empty for a long, long time. That became before the county planning board. But as far as the usage goes for housing, repurposed schools are very commonly used for housing, or whether it's for whatever purpose it is, low income or senior or whatever. But that's not unusual.
Mayor, do you have, I guess maybe we can reach out to the school and find out why the previous developer who was showing interest walked away. He was showing a lot of interest. His attorney called me several times. I'm wondering if it's something is it asbestos? Is it lead paint? Is there some environmental issue?
No, the environmental all has been taken care of.
All been taken care of. So
they have a report on that, and I don't know the exact reason,
It'd
but
be good. It'd be
obviously
interesting to
they
know
were
what
dragging it
made
out.
them walk. You know,
Well, they were dragging it out and not coming and talking to the land use board. Okay, it's one thing that they talk to you, which is fine, but they needed to come and talk to Danielle and talk to us on what was happening, and they were dragging it out.
Yeah.
So now that's obviously gone. So the next thing is we need to, get some other people in here, because this is a prime piece of property in our redevelopment zone, and I think we need to work with it.
Yeah, I would suspect that there was some economic reason why they walked, and it'd be interesting to see what that was. Was it related to the renovation of the building, or they just felt because they I left them with a positive response. Everything is negotiable. Everything is, we're interested in hearing any of your ideas or any of your thoughts. Come in, let's work them out. And so it certainly wasn't, the representation of what we would allow there. It must have been some other reason, for their own business plan, that they felt that they couldn't make it work.
It could be sales and it's something else they have, because, right now everything's being affected by COVID in one way or another. And that could have thrown off other sales that led them to this potential next project.
Yeah, it could have been some type of, couldn't get funding, they couldn't get funding for it.
Hey, Rich.
As it's stated, John, I think you said it clearly. You would like people to come in, talk to us, and we'll be open to what they would want, and then basically go from there. And then create a plan maybe together, or at least with what's happening. And I was just, trying to go in that direction to see what specifically, if we wanted anything. And if it isn't, that's fine. We'll state that to possible potential buyers. I mean, that's, you got to market this a little bit.
And I think the report that I forwarded you, hopefully that's been forwarded to the school and the realtor that's showing it. So to say, hey, this is a report that the borough prepared, and it identifies two different options. One is a mixed use, and the other one is having all residential. And so, those opportunities are there. I think, that should hopefully, mull some ideas with the developer that, work with their business plan and see what they can make it happen.
Hey, Rich, do we know, does the school have it in the best hands of a realtor? Are they, good at what?
No, they don't. No, they don't. And ultimately, from my understanding, is that it has to go back out to bid. And that's a little fugazi in the sense, because you're bid on something, but you don't really know what you're allowed to do there, because it's so open, right? So that's why I'm trying to get a little more feel to help people make some decisions. That's all.
Richard, I think,
I have no one that I'm speaking to hard fact that I can guide them in any way, but I want to be ready, right? Because this, when a bid goes out, it's going to happen quick, and we want to hopefully let them have as many bidders as possible, so the number is a good one.
It's really a blank canvas. If you look at our marketing study in so many words says, go ahead, so it's really a blank canvas, if you will, and it's always about the money.
Right.
If we could touch base with the school, and I think, we should ask to see how are they advertising this property? What are they putting into the, portfolio of this piece of property? And perhaps we can work with them, enhance it to make it more attractive of what they're representing.
Well, this is the thing, John, exactly. And that's what I was trying to sort of go down the line.
Yeah, no.
How do we make this more attractive in the sense of, and I'm not saying us put together a full-blown plan, but, maybe spend a little time and go, okay, it's, and I'm not even sure how many acres it is, 4 acres or 4.5, whatever, and you have the old building, how many units do you think someone could get out of it realistically, and that type of thing, because I think there are questions regarding that.
You know,
They
and
have a
even,
good-
you know, it would be foolish if at the very least in that advertisement and not saying that this is this property has been identified as needing redevelopment and a redevelopment plan is pending. You know, if a developer reads that, they're going to say, wow, what does that mean? Let me go talk to the town regarding what plan is pending. You know, it's like, it's just some key words that I hope that they're including in that advertisement for the property.
Would it make sense for us to meet with representatives of the Board of Education on this, John?
You know, I think it should be a partnership, you know, that with it. We want to see it built, just they want to sell it. We want to see it built, you know, and redeveloped. So I certainly, I would hope that we can just come to the table and just talk about how we can enhance their marketing of the material of the property.
Hey, John.
Listen, we just spent $10,000 doing that, John.
Oh yeah, no, I know, Mayor. I know. We did a marketing plan, and I would hope that marketing plan is attached to the advertisement for that piece of property.
Well, originally it wasn't. That was I think that was the problem, and that's one of the reasons why I'm bringing it up. We can do it. What I would like to make a suggestion then, if it's okay with our land use board and stuff, is that we do have a real estate committee in town, and I think that maybe the real estate committee, and John, if you want to be involved, reach out with the school and have a meeting and see what we can massage to help, put something together, maybe.
Yeah.
I think I should be involved as well as a representative of the land use board.
I agree.
Proceed carefully.
Well,
how much is known about the property that's in the
reach out to them. Make no promises.
No, of course
reach
not.
out to them and point out that we have this plan. We could do it through your committee, Rich. And with John as well and myself representing the land use board. And just see if we can get a move on.
Sounds good.
Hey, Rich.
Yes.
How much is known about the building in the prospectus that they described the building, down to the structure, the roof, the age of the roof? I mean, anything about the building? Is that any statistics on the building?
There's actually quite a thick prospectus on the building itself and an environmental on the building itself. Okay. So, which a prospective buyer would obviously look through and discern, but ultimately, a buyer would have to go through it with their own environmental guy and their own structural engineer to make sure, it is what it is. Yeah. And,
the structure is the main thing he's interested in, and the piping and all that is mute. And
well, I don't even know if someone wants to keep the structure. You know what I'm saying?
The structure could be gone. I'm just saying that's the first thought if somebody wanted to just repurpose it into, units like the other schools have done.
Yes.
The structure really doesn't mean much at all in this case. It's the opportunity for the investors to get a return on their investment and make that a maximum return on their investment. Whatever follows, we're more than willing as a municipality, we're more than willing to work with to assure that return on the developer's investment. So the specific on the building, stuff like that's self-regulating really. And so what the clients really need to understand is our willingness to be very flexible and still remain within the law to make sure that they make a profitable investment. I think that's where that's the status we have to change. I would be careful about representing anything about the property. I would represent on behalf of the borough that we do have a very effective and user-friendly land use board, and we have a blank palette, and we have a willingness on behalf of the land use board, if I'm hearing everybody correctly, to proceed with that and work for the benefit of the town and the developer.
It's just the next major puzzle in that area. which I think is important. So we need to push it.
Bob, exactly. And that,
I mean-
and that's one of the reasons why I reached out to John. You know, this is a main key piece of the puzzle. And if we get this going, boom,
Yeah.
then hopefully other stuff's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I look at the lots down there and I just think of how great that'll be once we have a few more of those structures up down there. It's a
Right.
home run.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. So Alan, I will reach out to the school and see if they want to, I don't know if they want to put together a real estate committee to sit down with both of us or even just some of them. And then we can sort of brainstorm, but help them because ultimately it's theirs, you know, and help them market it or even just give them some advice.
Okay.
You know, it may be advantageous if, Rich, what's the timing for them to secure the next real estate agent? Because
Well, there is no, I'm sorry, the next real estate what?
the person that the agent that they're going to hire.
No, they didn't use one.
They didn't.
No, they didn't. And I'm don't know the reason why not or whatever, but that's their call. And well, whatever. But you know,
How are they advertising it then?
they just put it out for advertisement.
They're under
Supposedly,
some, listen, they're under some rules from the state
yeah,
Department of Education. They can't just say, put a for sale sign on it. There's a procedure that they go through. And I
right.
think that is a request for proposal when they have to dispense of a building owned by the Board of Education, if I understood that correctly. They just can't advertise it in multiple listings as such. There's a procedure they have to go through, and it's probably a clumsy one.
You know, but Mayor, I agree with you that they have to go through this process. But even like when I advertise for a construction project, we just don't put it in the local paper. We actually, I reach out to a number of trade magazines that for construction projects and get the word out that way. You know, and so there's plenty of real estate publications that they can put this out in to get the word out. You know, they got
Not getting to the right spectrum of people.
To post it in the Herald and expect you to get a good showing. It's ridiculous.
Big for sale sign on the front just doesn't cut it.
You know, so maybe we could talk to them about that.
We'll have some dialogue.
We'll have some dialogue. Exactly.
It sounds like they need direction. Period.
Yeah,
They do.
So
And
you're going in the right way, you know.
yeah, we sold a nursing home in the county, and I can tell you right now, none of the freeholders or anybody else knew how to sell a nursing home. We gave those to the hands of professionals that knew how to do that.
Right.
right. You got to make it the right package and appeal.
You do.
Something-
You got to get it to the right environment, the right people that do that kind of business, that know how to sell these schools. We're not the only one in the country that are giving up old schools. They're popping up all over the country. So
I
there's a
think
market
the first
for
thing
them.
to do is to sit down, see if they're willing to sit down with us and talk about it.
Yeah.
And then
Exactly.
one of our, we can give them this direction.
Is there any one of our developers that have worked with us in recent years have any interest in this to jump back into another project in the town now that they have successful sales in the town?
Well,
No.
that
short
one
answer is no,
needs to
Bob.
happen.
Darn.
Yeah.
Darn.
Been there, done that.
I thought Atkins would be old jumping on that.
Well, maybe we should call them.
Seriously. They got a magic touch. Those
Exactly.
condos look great from the water.
Yeah, they do.
They
They're
really
all
do.
sold out.
And
I
they're all
know.
That didn't take long at all.
No.
Price is
And
too
then-
low.
People love their community.
Return on investment. It's all about the money. It's not about what good they can do or not do. It's all about the money, folks, unfortunately.
Right.
Right now is a tough time with banking too, by the way. So many
Always.
people fall
Yeah,
with
but
loans, but that's another lending problem.
Yeah, but we got
Stupid.
to go bigger than that. We got to go bigger than that.
I got a stupid question. Is there any way you can tie that property to access to the lake?
No.
If you could tie that property in any way with an access to a lake and a dock, you could sell that property 10 times faster than just a piece of land sitting on top of a hill.
A real big steam shovel.
Yeah, they need to.
Yeah, I know which one you're thinking about.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be direct access. It has to be a piece of property that's on the lake that they could use. It would be
Kind of
smart.
off,
Bridge.
kind of off at 11 o'clock.
Well, let's move. This
Okay.
will be discussion for later.
Sure,
Let's
exactly.
move on to the ordinance from the council concerning amendment to short-term rental.
Oh,
That's our next item of discussion. Ordinance 28-2020. Is it going to be the mayor or the councilman who's going to speak to it?
Well, what we have to do here is statutorily, the land use board should comment on this ordinance. And so as it applies to zoning.
Say that again, please.
The land use board should comment on this ordinance as it applies to zoning, not necessarily registration and everything like that. You know, for example, the ordinance says that short-term rentals can happen in any zone. And so the land use board should take a look at that and say, okay, it makes sense, it doesn't make sense, and then comment back to the governing body that you have reviewed this ordinance as it applies to zoning, and you have a problem, you don't have a problem, or comment on it, or just say that you reviewed it. I think that's a requirement for us.
Okay. And that's, by the way, everybody, that was included, it wasn't included in written form, but it was included in our email correspondence from Danielle. Has
Yeah, but I
everybody,
have to go and print it out.
Can I have a little clarification? When it goes 28 days and then it says something about 120 days?
Yeah, that's part of the definition of what a short-term rental is. If it's less than 28 days, it's called it's a transient. It's a transient thing going on, and so that could be 1 day to 27 days. After the 28 days, if you rent it, it's not considered a short-term rental. In other words, it's not an Airbnb. It's a monthly rental, and short-term rentals are typically less than a month. I think that's what that, in a nutshell. I'm probably not perfectly correct, but that is the concept of the short-term rental. That it's a rental less than 28 days.
which makes sense.
Well, that's really the purpose of regulating your short-term rentals.
Yeah, it's the weekend partiers.
Correct.
That's it.
Mhm.
this is going to be considered for final reading and adoption on October 7th.
Yes, and so what the governing body needs is comment from this board saying you looked at the ordinance and whatever the comment is. I can't tell you what your comments are, if any.
But I think what we have to do is just ask everybody to look at it, and we'll discuss it at our next meeting.
Yeah.
Well, the next meeting is when? October what?
October 6th.
Has Mr. Haggerty looked at this?
I emailed it out to everyone.
Yes. This is a formality that we have to do with the board.
Right.
I mean, I quite honestly, I don't know that anything's going to change in it, but the law says that the land use board has to review it and make comment on it.
Hmm.
The requirement is that every zoning ordinance must either be substantially consistent with the land use plan element and the housing plan element of the master plan.
Right.
Correct. And that's why it has to come for comment and review by the land use board.
Okay.
We,
All right, everybody, Danielle, can you send it out again, or send it out again by email and include it in the packet for written form for next meeting? Okay.
Sure. Yep.
All right. There was some other correspondence as well. We got something from where did she go? Colleen. She was here a minute ago. We got Let me see, where is that? I have it on my pad here, which was a little disturbing to me.
Colleen is here. I don't know where she went.
Yeah, I know. Bills, meeting minutes, speed limit sign. Oh, come on. There it is. A webinar about updated stormwater rules.
For tonight.
And it's a webinar taking place that night, the night that I got that email after the webinar had already begun. And I mean, you know, that's the sort of thing that I would have attended if I had known about it. And I think it's just a problem that that they have in terms of getting their act together and getting information out in a timely manner. The Lake Hopatcong Commission.
Yeah, I attended that webinar. It was interesting to say the least, and it reinforced my belief in pervious pavement. You know, I've talked about that for a long time, and they did talk about that, and they talked about the percentage of pervious coverage and a bunch of other technologies and stormwater management. It was interesting, but I believe this board understands a lot of the principles, and we would take guidance from our engineer on anything new or different.
Well, I agree. That my point is simply that I would have liked to attend something like that, just to get more information for myself. And the Lake Hopatcong Commission got it out too late.
If I can find it, I'll send you the slides.
Okay, thank you. All right, I think the only other correspondence we had was the letter from Bill Haggerty, which we've already discussed. So we'll move on to escrow refunds, which are informational only, Jeremiah Bailey. And we'll move on to the bills, which should we pay the bills?
Pay the bills.
Second.
Danielle?
Mr. Mangiapane?
Yes.
Mr. Duncan?
Yes.
Mr. Gaffney?
Yes.
Mrs. Crock?
Yes.
Mr. Rahal?
Yes.
Mr. Riley?
Yes.
Mr. Toppin?
Yes.
Councilman Schindler?
Yes.
Mayor Francis?
Yeah.
Mr. Gilbert?
Yes. I will now open the meeting to the public. Would anybody from the public like to address this board on any matters at all? I will ask you to go to your screen and go to the bottom, reactions, and raise your hand if you would like to speak to anything at all.
We have one. Here we go. Anthony, you're on.
Yeah, it's Anthony. I'm back again.
Yes.
I was just contemplating. So when I fill out the whole new application for the new variance, does that include a whole new set of fees as well, or am I just reapplying what I have paid already?
Danielle, you want to? He wants to know if it's fee.
I'm not going to require another escrow fee, but a use variance application is $400, not $200. So if the board would be okay with me just taking the additional $200.
Yes, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I think consensus is that we're okay with that, Danielle.
Do you need a vote? Alan, do we need to vote on that?
I don't think so.
I was just giving Danielle some backup. That's all.
Right. No, I think she's good.
Okay.
Thank you.
I have a question for Bill Donegan, though.
Go ahead.
Bill, is this going to trigger different variances he's going to have to list?
Basically, I could definitely incorporate some other variances with regard to just looking at it from the direction that it didn't exist before. And
So do you want me to have him come in on Thursday instead?
That might be, because I'm not going to be in tomorrow. So yeah, right. Thursday would be a better time for me to be able, unless he wants to come in and start on things tomorrow, that's fine. But yes, I could probably add some things that would be a little bit more definitive.
Okay.
Danielle, Bill's out tomorrow too as well, right?
Bill O'Connor is
O'Connor.
back tomorrow. Bill Donegan is out
Okay.
tomorrow.
Let's have them both in the building when he comes in.
And make sure Bill Haggerty covers remember, we're starting from scratch on a pre-existing non-conforming use variance. There might be some other stuff that I would speak to Haggerty about to make sure that the applicant understands what his burden is and what he has to come in and present to this board. Remember, we're not at the building yet. We're not at variances yet. We're at the use. That's where we have to start. So the burden is upon the applicant. And so I would suggest that Bill Haggerty make sure that all the criteria that's required be laid out for him. After that, then you can get to the variances. But the first critical issue is establishing the pre-existing non-conforming use.
Are we okay with that?
I think what I may do is kind of look up what I think I would add to the review, and then run it by Bill Haggerty, and make sure I'm not missing something.
Okay, Mr. Ganjimi, is your question answered?
I brought up another. So I have to apply for the land use, and then after the land use, I apply for variance. So this is going to take a couple more meetings to get this done, or can it all be done in one meeting?
I don't think it could be done in one meeting. I think you have to apply for the use variance first and then for the variances.
See what Bill says. See if you can do them together, if you have to bifurcate them. I would take the guidance from our counselor on that.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Ron, is there anybody else who wants to speak to the board?
I don't see any, sir.
Okay, seeing none, I will bring it back to the board. Any old business?
Yep.
Okay, you have one and I have one as well. You go ahead first. Mr.
October 15th at 10 a.m., we're going to have the ribbon cutting for the solar field.
Ah, very nice.
We should be online end of September-ish. And so we want to make sure everything's okay. And then October 15th at 10 a.m., we'll have a ribbon cutting of sorts.
Okay.
Properly distanced, wearing your mask.
Right. And I want to bring up again the work session from last meeting. We had said that there was a problem with the number of units being advertised, and as of today, on certain websites, it is still being advertised as 7 bedrooms and either 4 to 5 bathrooms, and on others, it's advertised as 6. What was the direction we had given?
Get rid of the one bedroom. And she didn't know how many bedrooms were there.
Yeah,
we gave her direction to drop the listing to 6.
She was told to go to her realtor and get it changed.
Down to
the
6.
next day.
I thought we go to 5. I thought it was supposed to be 5.
No, 6.
We sent her back to get a certified drawing of what's there. That was the instructions from us to go back and tell us exactly, certifiably stamped what's there.
Floor plan.
No, I don't think we did that, Ron. I think we determined that would cost too much money for her. So what we wound up doing.
She was working off a napkin. She had no idea what was there.
I know.
But I think we kind of told her to just take that one bedroom out of the attic.
That's right. Work session. I'm looking
Take
at
it out of the attic
now.
and change the listing.
Correct.
So, but I would like to say one thing about the listing, and I fully agree she should have a listing changed. Alan, you need to be real clear. Where did you see the other listings? Because sometimes the realtor will change something, and it either takes time or a subsidiary, not even a subsidiary, other listing agents pick up listings and advertise things. Changes are made, and those changes don't get diffused down through the line. Not to try to stick up for her, but you know, if it's a real issue, then someone needs to reach out to her and just tell her.
I'm looking on my phone right now, and it's listed on Zillow as 7 beds, 4 baths. It's
Yeah, but Zillow is not updated all the time. And what about the realtor who's listing it, though? Did she change it?
Well, I don't know who listed it.
Well, then that needs to be found out and then determined, did that lady change it? Because that's what we told her. Have the listing agent change the listing.
Yeah, well, Trulia and Redfin are still listing it as 7.
Yeah, but those are all listing agents that take other listings and do it. So it might not have flowed through yet.
Who's listing it at 6?
MLS. Can I say something?
Realtor.com is listing it as 6.
It will take time to get propagated through all the websites.
Well, I think somebody should contact the realtor who has listed it and have them contact the others, Zillow and Trulia, and have it fixed.
Here's the problem with that, Alan. I've tried to get my stuff fixed with Google, and really, who can I talk to? Who do I get through to have them change something on a map to have a good, a search map come up for directions? Nah, nothing. So good luck on getting hold of Zillow, someone to change it. But I'm not saying they can't. I agree with you. Someone should. But I don't think we should kill her if Zillow has it listed wrong. We need to make sure that her realtor has it listed correctly and then go from there.
And she has to show us that. We can't do that for her. She has to come in and show us the actual listing that lists it correctly. If she doesn't, can't, then she's not in compliance.
Did Bill go back yet to her place and see that that bedroom is gone?
No, as a matter of fact, she's not, it was left that she would contact us with the next step. And no, I have not heard a word since that meeting.
Can you count all the bedrooms when you go there? Obviously, you want to see the whole thing. Is that possible?
I can request that. I don't know that I can force it, but I can request it.
No.
See, the scenario is, right now, if it's non-conforming, it's non-conforming. I mean, one could say there's a violation. One could potentially, with proof, issue summonses. But one's going to have that access. I don't have that unless again I've never done this in all these years, but there's possibility the municipal judge would give me a warrant to be able to inspect the property.
I think the bottom line is, if anything, you need to check that 1 bedroom, make sure it's gone. If it's gone, that's it. Move on and then check with the realtor. If you want to take it to another level and be a Gestapo, then guess what? We need to do that with a lot of properties in town. No. I don't think we want to cross that bridge.
I just want to make sure whatever we're doing here, I feel for her conditions and all that.
Exactly.
My concern is the people that buy the house, that it's accurate and they have a absolute perfect approved house to buy. I'm thinking about the investor that's going to pick it up as well.
I'm thinking of neighbors. When you rent out 7 rooms in a house, we're here to protect the neighborhood too.
Right.
So,
well, look at what we're going through with Mr. Gangemi. He already bought this property, and now he's running into all kinds of hurdles.
Yep.
We're trying to work with him, and we always do, but there's a limit to what we can do.
Yep.
Yeah. When you sell the property, you walk away, and then the guy inherits the nightmare.
That's right.
That was my initial problem with Tabby. And the same thing holds true here, and the same thing holds true with his non-conforming.
Yep.
Alan, did you mention anything to the mayor about that call I had gotten?
No.
On that one?
No, I haven't had a chance to speak with the mayor.
Okay. That was kind of weird too.
Yeah.
Welcome to Hopatcong.
Hey, hey, Robert, come to my office. I can show you weird about 7 hours out of the day.
Yeah, I work in Penn Station. I see weird on a constant basis.
Yeah, but that's not where you live.
God.
Is there any other old business? New business.
Dog.
IDs.
Yeah, Wade's got the applications. He's going to be calling everybody, take pictures, and get the badges made. We're process is started.
Oh,
Where's
good.
the dog, Danielle?
He's behind me.
I would like to update everybody on River Sticks if there's a mystery on why we put up light posts and then we turn around and took them back down.
Yes, there is.
Yeah. Donated them.
Yeah, well, as this project goes, it's going to be everything imaginable. The contractor ordered by model number, ordered the right poles. By model number, the contractor shipped the right poles, but the poles were not the right poles. So we put up about, I don't know, about 13, 14, 15 of them. We were on a roll. We were going down like bandits, only to find out that the top of the head of it is not the same as what we have everywhere else. And by the naked eye, you would never know that. But from a dimensional perspective, we're putting up all the veterans banners and we're hanging the wreaths and we're doing all that kind of stuff. It would not have given us the height requirement that we needed to make that happen. Oops. So all the posts have gone back to the manufacturer. They're redoing them. Basically, they're cutting the head off and putting the right one on, and they're shipping them back to us at the cost of the contractor. This is nothing that the borough's absorbing. This is all funded by the state and the feds. So this is not something we're incurring. We are going back to the feds and putting in the dollars that we had for police work because we had police officers managing traffic on material that was wrongly put in. So that doesn't do anything for us. That's the state and the contractor. And John and I have gone through this enough. But the bottom line is the new poles will be coming back in. They're wired. Everything's wired. We're waiting for them. And once they get up, we'll go up and install them, and we're off to the races.
Hey, great. Ron, are those powder-coated poles?
I don't know. Ask John.
They're black.
I know right now they're not here.
They're black poles.
They're black. I know they have LED lights. That's all I know. That's all I wanted was LED lights.
Well, just for your edification, when you do powder coating, if that's what it is, which most of them are, you just got to make sure that when they redo them, that it's done properly. Otherwise, it will come off. So you just got to make sure that whatever they do in reapplication is done properly.
If this is anything like this project has been from the start, those poles will be naked as a jaybird by the time we come back from California.
Oh,
all right. Any other old or new business?
New.
There's my dog.
New.
Okay.
New
business.
You made my night, Danielle. Thank you.
Yeah, you got a question. Someone wants to know if the council's going to be meeting and discussing the out-of-area firemen. There was a council proposal that was supposed to be voted on for a fireman out of the area.
I don't know if that's on the agenda or not, Michael.
Okay.
Anything happening with the nail salon or the restaurant down there in the main part of our town there?
The ones that are on for sale?
Yeah, we're trying to get it. We're trying to get them to cut the grass.
Yeah.
Well, did the mayor and council pass a resolution asking us to direct John Rushke to do a review of the entire area down to the River Styx, from River Styx down to this park?
We did that last week.
We're going to have.
We did that last meeting, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The redevelopment program to extend all the way down to all the way down.
Well, then we as a council have to direct John to go ahead with that, I believe.
Yeah, you better get to work on that.
Well, let's do it. Let's have a motion to direct John Rushke to do a review of the entire area down to the park.
I still move.
Mark Gaffney moved it. Do we have a second?
Second.
Danielle?
Who did the second?
Who do you want? Duncan?
Okay. Mr. Bhagavani?
Yes.
Mr. Duncan?
Yes.
Mr. Gaffney?
Yes.
Mrs. Crock?
Yes.
Mr. Rahal?
Yes.
Mr. Riley?
Yes.
Mr. Pappen?
Yes.
Mr. Gilbert?
Yes. Mr. Rushke, you are muted.
It's gonna probably stay that way.
Now you're on
You know,
mute.
I just you know, I just want to raise the fact that we've already started the process in the way of working with the Highlands. We've opted into the Highlands, so it's not like we have free reign to declare an area in redevelopment. We have to work with the Highlands, and so the Highlands has directed us to do an environmental impact statement of that area before we proceed with doing it, looking at it being in an area redevelopment, and they're willing to fund that. And in fact, they are ready to authorize that study to go forward. But then all of a sudden COVID hit and all the funding in the Highlands is put on hold. And they're also willing to pay for the study to research, to do the study to declare the area in redevelopment. They're willing to pay for doing the redevelopment plan. They've been pretty much forthright with working with me and getting that funding in place. But unfortunately, everything came to a screeching halt with COVID. So I guess I can proceed, but I don't believe the borough, the council will have to look for the funding if they want to just tell the Highlands, no, we're not going to accept that funding to move forward separately. So I think I'm ready to go. I'll jump. You want me to jump, I'll say how high, but it's just a matter of, I think we do want the Highlands to pay for this effort.
Well, a lot of the COVID stuff is softening now, so maybe
we're hopeful. Yep, and we do have a connection there with the Highlands, who I remind constantly. I'm looking at you, Mayor, to see if they can, loosen that pocketbook up. It is a directive from the governor regarding, the hold on funds. So we do need to, So
yes, I'll follow up on that, John, and we'll talk offline about the actual plan. I think once we're really ready to pull the trigger, we have all of our ducks in a row. I think I can some people.
Okay.
Mike, I think your internet is slow.
Yeah, I think something.
Battery running out.
Okay, is there anything else for the good of the order?
Did Atkins ever take down the condo sign? Because I remember that was a big issue with some people in our audience. Now that they're all sold, I'm just curious.
They've been taken down.
Was he taken down? Okay. I didn't.
Okay, Mr. Legio is not here. Mrs. Crack.
Motion to adjourn.
We are adjourned.
Have a great night, folks.
Good night.
Good night,
Good night, everyone.